Chucky the Killer Doll, the true story.
It is not surprising to hear a child talking with his doll, as if the doll is aware and understands what he says. Most children do that. But it is strange and suspicious to hear the doll exchanging the child's conversation. Some would say that this would be possible if the doll was a battery-operated talking doll. But what if it was an ordinary doll, made of cloth and cotton? Could it talk? Could it feel what is going on around it? Of course. Most people would say that this is absolutely impossible. But do not rush to judge. Our article will tell you about dolls of another type. Beautiful dolls that watch you with their luscious eyes and listen to you silently, waiting for the right moment to surprise you. They are strange, creepy dolls. If you hear their stories, you will think twice before you dare put a doll near your sleeping bed. I think most horror fans have seen the movie Child's Play. The movie talks about a doll that magically comes to life and turns into a terrible killer who takes lives suddenly and with excessive cruelty. The idea is frightening. A cute, innocent face suddenly turns into a hateful, demonic face that instills terror in the souls. And that evil voice that sticks in the minds with his famous phrase, slowly and deeply,
"I am Chucky. Do you want to play?"
The first part of the Chucky series was released in 1988. The story is about a mother named Karen who buys her son Andy a doll called the Good Guy. But later, it turns out this doll is possessed by the spirit of an evil criminal named Charles. The doll whispers to Andy,
"My name is Chucky."
Soon, Chucky finds out that the only way to restore his human body is to transfer his soul into the body of the first person who knew who he really was, and that person was Andy. All subsequent events revolve around this frantic struggle by Chucky to take Andy's body. But are there really haunted dolls? Why not? Have people not worshipped the idols of the gods since ancient times, claiming they hear and understand? These idols are in fact nothing but human-made dolls. Are there really haunted dolls? A question that may seem naive for a moment. Dolls that feel and are aware. What a silly idea. Is there a sane person who thinks that such a thing exists? Why not? Have people not worshipped the idols of the gods since ancient times and claimed that they hear, understand, and possess supernatural powers? The idols are, in fact, nothing but human-made dolls. Also, since ancient times, dolls were part of many magical rituals. And perhaps these mysterious and secret rituals were the basis on which the haunted doll stories were built. The film's author, Don Mancini, claimed that Chucky the doll is a 100% fictional character. But, regardless of what Mancini says, there are actually many haunted doll stories around the world. Mancini himself may have heard some of those stories and inspired the character of Chucky from them. There are some people who think that the movie is completely based on the story of a haunted doll named Robert, which in my opinion is more terrifying than Chucky's story because it is real. Robert the Haunted Doll. The story of the doll Robert comes from the island of Key West in Florida. The story takes place sometime during the year 1904. In the luxurious home of the family of an artist and author named Robert Eugene Otto, or Jane as they used to call him when he was young, who was the only child of wealthy parents who used to travel a lot. And during their long travels, they would leave their son under the care of an old nanny whose roots were in the Bahamas. That old woman is said to have been skilled in voodoo magic and an expert in harnessing magic and evil spirits for the purpose of inflicting black curses on enemies. Jane's mother was known for her nervous nature and mistreatment of servants, and in one of her tantrums she fired the old nanny for a trivial reason, but her son's strong attachment to his nanny forced her to postpone expelling her from the house until the end of the month. The old nanny spent her last days at home locked in her room. No one knows what she was doing alone in that room, but her fellow workers were sure that she was planning something to take revenge on her employers. The old nanny, of course, was feeling unjust. She took care of her employer's son and was like a mother to him during his parents' long trips. And now, when the child is a little older, they kick her out. Finally, the nanny left her room when it was time for her to leave at the end of the month. But before she left the house, the old woman slowly went up to Jane's room and presented him with a doll made of cloth and cotton. Told him that she had made it especially for him and named it Robert after his first name, and asked him to keep it as a memory from her. Then she bid him farewell and left. James soon became attached to his new doll, Robert. He dressed him in sailor's clothes and did not leave him even in his sleep. He spent most of his time playing with him and talking to him. It seemed normal for a child his age, but gradually strange things began to happen. His parents and the servants heard a voice of another person with Gene in the room. At first they thought that Gene was changing his voice to speak on behalf of the doll, which is normal for children to do when talking to dolls. But the other voice was too rough to be a child's voice. Sometimes the voice turned into a scream. The parents rushed to Jane's room to find him crumpled in the corner of the room while the doll Robert is sitting on the chair staring at him. When they ask Jane why he was screaming, he points to the doll and says angrily, "It's Robert. He started the fight first." As the days passed, more strange and mysterious things began to happen in the house. Dishes started flying off the tables and smashed on their own. The doors were locked from the inside for no reason. Books fell from the shelves and scattered on the floor. Then Jane's toys began to break and his dolls and puppets were being ripped apart and scattered around the house. Jane's parents thought that their son was doing these things, but whenever they blamed him for it, he would point his finger at the doll and say, "It's Robert. He did it, not me." Jane's parents didn't believe it was the doll doing this, but many of the servants did. They believed that the old nanny had actually poured one of her black curses on the doll to take revenge on the family, and some swore that they saw Robert running at night between the rooms. And when they tried to catch him, he started climbing the walls and walking upside down on the ceiling, laughing and mocking them. They became terrified of him and avoided as much as possible entering Jin's playroom, especially at night. The strange sightings were not limited to house servants, as the neighbors also started talking about watching the doll Robert walking inside the house and moving from one window to another when the family was outside. Things came to a head one night when Jane's parents ran to his room after hearing him screaming and sobbing. They found him lying under the furniture that somehow all piled up on one side of the room. Jane was screaming in terror, "It's Robert. He wants to hurt me." At this point, Jane's parents were fed up. They tried to tear and burn the doll, but the servants warned them not to do that so the curse would not permeate the whole house. Finally, Jane's father decided to lock the doll in the attic and prevent everyone from approaching that small room. Days and years passed quickly. Jane's parents died and he became a well-known painter and author. He married a beautiful girl named Annie. And during the long decades they spent together in the house, the door of the attic room remained locked and everyone forgot about the doll Robert. There were no strange incidents except for the complaint of some neighbors about seeing someone staring at them from behind the old and dusty attic glass. They were asking the couple if there was someone in the attic, but the couple used to say no. They knew it was Robert, but they ignored it. In 1972, Jane died and his wife sold the house. The new owners decided to open the attic door, not knowing anything about the story of the doll Robert. They found him sitting on a rocking chair by the window staring out as if he was watching the people entering and leaving the house. Surprisingly, he looked clean even though everything in the room was covered in dust. And unfortunately for them, they had a 10-year-old daughter who quickly became attached to the doll and wanted to keep it. Once again, strange things began to happen in the house. The girl started screaming and crying at night. Her family was rushing to her and she told them that she saw the doll moving and wandering around the room and jumping over the furniture. And on one occasion the girl swore that the doll attacked her and tried to harm her. Robert the doll ended up in one of the American museums, Fort East Martello Museum. Most likely that the girl's family donated him to that museum to get rid of his evil, But the story did not end there. Soon the museum staff started talking about strange things happening during the night. Some of the guards swore that they saw the doll wandering around the museum at night. They began to suspect that there was something strange about this doll, so they researched its long history. And soon they discovered the strange and mysterious events that always accompanied it. To avoid his problems, the museum management decided to put Robert inside a glass cage, where he remains to this day. Every year a lot of people visit the museum to see Robert the doll, and to take pictures of him with caution. Legend claims that you must first take permission from Robert politely before taking any picture of him, and if he refuses this by tilting his head slightly back. You should avoid taking the picture so that an evil curse will not befall you. Mandy, the crying doll. There is another haunted doll that is less famous than Robert. This doll is called Mandy, which was donated by a woman to the Cale Museum in Canada in 1991. And unlike Robert, there is not much information about Mandy's history and past life, but she was in a dire state when she arrived to the museum the first time. Her clothes were torn and her face and body were mutilated with large cracks. The lady who donated it explained to the museum staff how she found the doll. She said that she had recently moved to live in an old house, and on some nights she would hear the sound of a baby crying echoing around the house. It happened several times. The lady finally decided to look for the source of the sound, and her search led her to an old box in the basement where Mandy was lying inside. And for some mysterious reason, the lady felt upset and uncomfortable when she saw Mandy for the first time. So she decided to get rid of it and donated it to the museum. And just like what happened with the lady who found Mandy, many visitors to the museum say that they feel an overwhelming feeling of depression and discomfort when looking at the doll. And some claim that they saw tears in her eye, while others swear that she was staring at them in a strange way and her eyes were chasing them as they passed out. In the end, we must ask ourselves, are these dolls really inhabited by spirits? Or are they mirrors, reflecting the fears and dark secrets that we hide deep within our souls? Perhaps the real danger is not in the dolls made of cloth and cotton, but in the human imagination, which can breathe life into a piece of wood and turn it into a nightmare. This was Andy, and these were the stories of the world's most haunted dolls. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like and subscribe to support us in bringing you more mysterious stories. Stay safe and be careful.
Who you talk to in the dark.